Hello, everyone. I hope to not give you any placards. We've done enough placards for you. All the data will be down below this video. But this video today is FAA Regulator Boeing, 2009 to present, discovers accreditation body and underwriter, ANSI-ANAB, is liable for failure. And all I'm going to say is this. I have to say it. Is that you have the American National Standards Institute, which is a private, not-for-profit, non-governmental entity that has both federal agencies and corporations on board. I'm not going to go into the factor that in 2015, the International Accreditation Form, which is a repository for all these accreditation bodies, national and international, that it was handed over to a communist Chinese national, a Zhao Jinwu, who was also the executive director of the China National Accreditation Services, which certified the laboratory in Wuhan, China. We're not going to go into this in detail. We can't. We want to get this done pretty quickly. Here he is in 2015. He's been involved with our quality since 1994, and he is mandated, you hear this, ladies and gentlemen, mandated to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. So, all the accreditation bodies that sit on the IF are equivalent in accreditation to ANAB. Whether it is this, the Chinese National Accreditation Services, or any other company, anything that sits on the IF is equivalent. What happened is ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. On Boeing's supplier portal, it states that a supplier must be ANSI ASQ National Crediting Board instead of ANSI-ANAB, okay? They don't call that out. They still have the document that states on their supplier portal the old way. So if they really cared about quality, they should have informed somebody in their computer division saying, listen, let's change this to ANSI-ANAB. Instead, it's ANSI-ASQ. That's a company that doesn't give a multi-million-dollar company who can't keep their internet straight. You think they can do cybersecurity? Probably not. The thing about it, too, is that ANSI-ANAB at the time between 2015 and 21 sat upon the IAF, right over by their neighbors. Yes, right over by their neighbors. Their neighbors, you're going to be kidding me. It's worse than that. Right over by their neighbors. You have Iran and Pakistan that sit right over by them. And I will say this is not a good situation. When you have Iran and Pakistan, and I'm not saying this about the people, I am saying this about the politicians. And here, just to show you this. Here's ANSI and ANAB. Here's Iran and Pakistan. And the thing about it is, the IAF is incorporated in Delaware, the International Accreditation Forum. So they have Iran and Pakistan on board, right over by ANSI and ANAB. On top of this, that all those federal agencies that sat during this time got most of their information taken by China. We have all the data. We have all the news, CNBC, CNN. You got it all. New York Times read about how the DOJ got hacked, how the FBI got hacked. It's not hacking. When you have your organization sitting right over by a Chinese national who's mandated to take your data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7, you got a fucking problem on your hands. Without a doubt. We basically invite these people in, and I think they stay a little bit too long in your computer. So anyway, what happened, okay, to get on with this, is that Boeing put out a supplier bulletin in 2002. And what they did is they gave this authority over to ANSI-ANAB because, of course, as I've showed you in other videos, Boeing sits on ANSI's board, right over by the FAA. And you look at this, and there you go. You have ANAB, their accreditation body that they call out on their supplier portal. And here's Boeing sitting over by ANAB. And then you have the FAA. The FAA, and you're going to see that shortly, the FAA handed over power to Boeing and made them a designate and with FAA authority, which means this, which means when they passed their magic wand over to Boeing, they became equivalent to Boeing. I mean, equivalent to, and here it is over here, equivalent to the FAA. So when you hear David Calhoun, the CEO who's behind me, say that our regulator, FAA, when you hear that, he's full of shit. Because in 2009, the FAA, listen to what it says, the FAA increased the authority of Boeing's commercial airplanes division to self-certify its own aircraft, giving it FAA sign-off privileges. And here you go. Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight of testing and product standards, along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft designs. So this way you have issues, 777, 757, 787, because Boeing had sign-off privileges in all the commercial divisions. And then you have them giving authority, like the FAA gave them FAA authority. You have Boeing giving their accreditation body that they sit on. Any oversight? No way. You could see it. So if you have an ASQ, actually, if you have an AS9100 certificate, that means you hand in our paper, hand in that certificate, which is for aerospace, AS9100, that's the ISO standard for aerospace, and send in your product. We'll stick it on the plane, and we don't have to send, it's very expensive to send source inspectors out to your facility. Food, the days, the time. Give the CEO a performance bonus. Yeah. And this is where we are 22 years later with another almost fatality. And we see that all the time, you know, with Malaysian Air and Ethiopian Air. You know, it's quality issues, quality, you know, MCAS and SHMEMCAPs. Let me just say, we've got some serious problems with Boeing, and you're going to have the Guberman SEAL Team 6 come in to rectify the situation, Dave, because if you don't, you're going down, literally going down. And I don't mean that in a way that's, how should we say, in a good way. So you have the FAA giving them authority. You have Boeing relinquishing their inspection to their accreditation body that they sit with on the same board on top of it. They sat on the board of ANAB that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. You have all these people that are involved with ANSI and ANAB. They're all sitting on boards smoking cigars. And let me tell you something. You can find those down below in the description, the whole ANSI-ANAB mess. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. And I will say this to you, Dave, because it's a fact. If you don't get the Guberman SEAL Team 6 in there, and we have a good team at that, then your aircraft company, you don't give a shit. You just care about the dollars that you're making, and that's it. I sent them my bio statement. I sent them all these things. I sent them this information. If David Calhoun in 2009 was sitting on the board when the FAA came in and says, okay, Boeing employees, some of you are going to have FAA privileges, which means Boeing is no longer an aerospace company. It is a regulatory authority, FAA, Boeing. So no matter what FAA puts in place, what happened with Boeing? They were the FAA. Again, 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. I thank you.